Everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, your place for all things mental health, well-being and success. Now, continuing with our Christmas-themed episodes, today we're focusing on how you can have a healthy, happy and most importantly, safe Christmas. Here to discuss this with me today, our road safety expert, Liz Brooker, who'll be telling us how we can keep safe on the road this festive period, along with our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang, and medical doctor, Rob Hicks. I will also be hearing from nutritionist and nutrition therapist Lily Soutter, who will be telling us how we can keep ourselves healthy, as well as hearing from our fashion expert Cynthia Gregoire on how we can organise our very own fashion shoot. Then later on, I'll be sharing some tips on 11 dangers to watch out for over Christmas. Now, according to the NHS, on average there are nearly 2,500 additional deaths over the Christmas and New Year period, with New Year's Day having the most deaths on average in the entire year. But why is this? Well, figures show that accidental deaths in the home, such as falls, fire or choking, they rise by 15%, and with more than 80,000 people a year needing hospital treatment for injuries over the festive period, it's no surprise that some of these injuries turn fatal. Deaths with drugs and alcohol as their underlying cause rise by 13%. Believe it or not, we drink 41% more alcohol in December than the usual monthly average. Murder and violence can rise by as much as a quarter, and on average 30 deaths over Christmas are put down to food poisoning. Deaths by road and weather go up by 9%, whilst deaths by disease increase by nearly 20%. So clearly safety is very important in achieving a happy Christmas. Let's hear what some of you have to say. Tater says, what do you want for Christmas? Intelligence, a better personality, to be mentally healthy, self-confidence. Logan's health issues aren't food related, saying the amount of Christmas movies I will be watching in the next 25 days isn't going to be healthy. Camden says, I hate cold weather so much, mainly because all I want is warm Christmas food, which is unhealthy as could be. Well, not necessarily, Camden, as you'll see later on with our guest Lily. Now, clearly just picking the right Christmas tree can prove too much for some. Valerie says, picking out a Christmas tree with me is the fastest way to shed any illusions you had about my being a sane and rational person. Whereas Ruby says, the only thing keeping me sane this week is Christmas music. Well, actually that drives me crazy, Christmas music, I don't like it. Well, as always, Christmas is proving to be a much talked about time of the year. Now, before we meet Dr. Audrey Tang, let's hear today's news with Pax Brown.
Thank you, Chrissy. Now, let's face it, we really need those 11 months in between the Christmas weeks, or else we'd probably find it really hard to recover. According to the Stress Management Society, 1 in 20 people find Christmas more stressful than a robbery. And over half of Britons will have an alcoholic drink before Christmas lunch to deal with the stress. Isn't that a bit of a catch-22 though? You're feeling stressed, and you're probably feeling even more stressed because it's Christmas Day, so you have a drink to relax, and all those toxins in your body are accumulating and make you feel even more stressed. This self-perpetuating cycle might seem familiar to some of you, so this year is perhaps a good idea to think twice before drinking before Christmas lunch on Christmas Day. And for some, Christmas is a very serious matter. In Cardiff, the council had ordered from China a Christmas tree that was meant to be over 130 feet tall. Once it went up, though, it stood at only 40 feet. The locals were very upset and have been quoted saying that they'd rather have no Christmas tree at all than that absolute monstrosity. And a funny story from Neath. The local council decided to cut costs this year by not decorating its Christmas tree. Locals took matters in their own hands and decided to decorate the Christmas tree themselves. The council responded by placing metal fencing all around the Christmas tree, calling it a health and safety measure. Locals are now decorating the metal railings. Over in the States, our English-speaking cousins have taken pre-Christmas stress to a whole new level, when people actually die during the Black Friday sales. This year, 3 people have lost their lives and hundreds injured in the madness of the Black Friday stampedes. And in fact, for some, Christmas can be a lot more stressful than for others. If you're one of those people, you can check out the NHS online guide to a stress-free Christmas. It's free to view and available on the NHS website. So maybe the secret to a happy Christmas is to remember that this holiday is about giving and caring for others. Perhaps if we all focused more on this aspect rather than the fancy dinners and the perfect gifts, we'd all have a much less stressful Christmas. And we can learn a lot from a London restaurant which this year is giving away 3-course meals to the elderly and the homeless for free on Christmas Day. The Turkish owners have been quoted saying, "No matter what race, religion or language we speak, we must help each other." What a wonderful initiative. Now that's all from me, guys. Back to you, Chrissy.
Thanks very much, Pax. Well, clearly there are many different sides to Christmas that can affect our mental health. And here to talk about this with me is our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang. Welcome to the show, Audrey, looking all festive.
Oh, thank you. I thought I'd wear red for today because it's Christmassy.
It looks lovely on you.
Thank you very much, Chrissy.
Now, as I was saying in the intro, Audrey, a lot of people do get quite stressed over Christmas. Why do people put so much pressure on themselves at this time of year?
There's a lot of reasons. One of the key ones being there is an expectation. And this is an expectation which we may have created in our heads, but because of all the social media out there, everyone's going to be posting their pictures. And on every single platform, you're going to be seeing Christmas dinners, Christmas presents, proposals, engagements, all kinds of things.
True.
And Christmas is also that time when you start taking stock over what you've done during the year. Now, if you've had a great year, wonderful. If your year's been a little bit more difficult, then it can feel a little bit deflating. So that's another issue there. Then you also get that stress or sadness because you don't see the people that you love, or that the people that you love you see too much of. And
that's a good point, actually.
You know, when you're all in the house together,
Yeah.
it's not so much that you don't want to see them, but we're not used to spending that much time together. And when we do, and we can't use our phones, and we're suddenly forced to talk to each other, not because anyone's making us do that, but there's this sort of societal pressure to, we're all sitting around the Christmas dinner table, we must talk to each other now. That can be a real problem as well. And just in general, with heat and intensity, those are stressors anyway. A lot of noise, a lot of warmth, any of those things can actually just make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. And of course the big one is finances.
Yes, yeah.
We've all spent money on buying Christmas presents, and suddenly we look at the bank account, and also with Christmas, a lot of us too, certainly in the teaching profession, you get paid a little bit earlier because of the Christmas holidays, and it's somehow a little bit harder to budget. So there's a lot of stressors pressing on us at Christmas.
I know Christmas, I think, has always been stressful, even before social media, I think, just because of like the most of the stuff that you've mentioned, actually, but I think now it's even worse. Like you say, the expectation is higher now because, like you said, the people are posting pictures and it's just...
Exactly. The other thing is, and this one I find quite interesting, is we sometimes place pressure on ourselves for traditions. So if we are now the grown-up child, maybe we're children of our own, then there may have been a tradition that our parents did and their parents did before them, but that tradition may be wearing a bit thin now. It may not be quite as significant or meaningful, and it may be quite stressful to do. But the pressure to carry on with that can be quite difficult. I mean, my advice to that would be maybe make some new traditions, and that could be different, and you put your stamp on Christmas then as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do though to help ourselves. And actually one of the first things is a nice piece of advice from Corey Cogan. She's a speaker, and she says, learn the difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy just means that we're often running around doing lots of different things, and it's not a virtue. Being productive means that we've been able to prioritise. We know what's important to us. We've actually got a to-do list that we can manage, and we've learned to say no. That's one of the most important
Tell us a bit
things.
more about saying no, because that is one that I know a lot of people have trouble with.
If we are people pleasers, and a lot of us do tend to be, maybe because we've been praised when we were young for, oh, you're so good, you did that for me, oh, well done for doing that. So we tend to think, oh, if we say yes to everything, people are going to like us more. Yeah. The problem with this is, if we're saying yes to everything, how can we give the quality that we want to every single thing we've said yes to? So saying no once in a while is actually saying yes to value and yes to quality. That's important. Yeah. Or if you can't say no, share the load. That's another easy way of saying, if you're having a big Christmas dinner, everyone's coming over, maybe someone can bring the potatoes, or someone can bring the dessert, or someone else can bring the traditional Christmas cracker, or whatever it is. And that can be a nice way of getting everybody involved and taking the pressure off yourself as well.
Some people actually love doing everything. They just don't want anyone in the kitchen. Like my hubby's gran is like that. She doesn't want anyone there. The only thing she'll let you do is like take things to the dining table, and that's it. And anything else, no.
But if you love that, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but sometimes you've got to ask yourself, why do you want to be the host? Is there an element of control in there? I know a family who, absolutely lovely, always used to do the Christmas dinners, are getting a little bit older. Their children are now grown up, and the children are absolutely desperate to do their Christmas dinner and invite their parents. But the parents will not allow this because they've just wanted to do it. They want to have the family together. They want to have everyone around the table. So it's about being honest with ourselves as well and saying, why is it I want to do this? What am I getting out of it? And if you are getting out of the fact that you love hosting, carry on, not a problem at all. But if there's a lot of stress that you're taking on, that can be an issue. It's about being honest, isn't it?
It is. I suppose with everything, like with your finances, I spoke about this on the last show about, you know, if you really can't afford something, don't do it just for the sake of it and just to please others.
Exactly. Having a budget is really important. And another piece of advice, which we've spoken about in a previous show, is actually don't buy your Christmas presents when you're somewhere else. So if you're visiting somewhere, it's a lot easier to spend money somehow. Okay. Or alternatively, take the cash to buy the Christmas present. Right. I know, obviously, be secure and look after your money, but if you're handing over a piece of plastic, it's psychologically a little bit easier than taking the notes out of your wallet. So it's another thing. It's a case of, I think, being aware and also knowing that Christmas is a time for you as well as everybody else. And whilst we're running around trying to make everybody happy, we've got to remember to take that moment to enjoy what we've done. Yeah. Otherwise, what was the point of doing it?
Exactly, definitely. Audrey, thank you so much, and I'm sure that's helped our lovely viewers at home.
So.
And we'll see you again soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Chrissy.
Brilliant. Okay, so don't go away, guys, because after the break, I'm going to be joined by road safety expert Liz Brooker and nutritionist Lily Soutter. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV show for mental health and well-being. Now, as I mentioned briefly earlier, deaths on the road increased dramatically over the Christmas and New Year period. And here to talk about this with me, she's back. It's road safety expert Liz Brooker. Hello, Liz.
Hello. Hi.
Looking absolutely gorgeous, I have to say.
Thank you.
Now, what have you been up to since you were last on? So quite a few exciting things have happened.
Incredibly exciting. I was awarded an MBE for my services to road safety. I think just because I've done it for 32 years, it's how long I've been doing it.
It's amazing.
So I went to the palace, met Princess Anne, and
that's wonderful.
Got my badge. So
congratulations.
Wonderful.
That's great. So guys, we have an expert here on the programme to help us out today. So Liz, why do accidents increase over this period, and what can we do to be safer on the roads?
I think we feel that they increase at this time, and I think whenever there's an accident or a collision at this time of year, it always makes news because it's so traumatic. Yeah. You know, everybody else is enjoying themselves and somebody's dealt with a death or something awful happening in their family. Actually, the summer period is worse for drink driving, but that's because it's spread out over a long period. Yeah. And the hotter the summer, then the worse it is. But at this time of year, we do need to be careful because we've got darker nights. Yeah. Pedestrians generally wear dark clothes, black, and pedestrians and drivers may have been drinking. You've got all of that put together and condensed into maybe a 3 or 4 week period over Christmas and New Year.
Okay, so how can people be safer then?
I think the main thing is probably the most powerful person in a car is the passenger. We can tell someone if a driver says, yes, I'm going to drive home, I've had a few drinks, I'm okay, then actually the passenger can say, well, I'm not getting in the car with you. Okay. And that will probably stop the driver from driving. The other thing is making sure it's very easy to try and cram as many people in the car as possible to save on taxi fares and bus fares. But there should only be as many people in the car as there are seat belts. Cramming in and somebody sitting in the footwell is just incredibly dangerous. And obviously everybody wearing their seat belts. And I think if you're going out, plan your journey home so that you don't have to have your car with you. It's very easy to be tempted to just think, oh, I've only had, as I say, a couple of drinks, I'm going to get in my car and it's only a short distance, there's no police around, all the things that we say to ourselves. Actually, every one drink you have is increasing your likelihood of being involved in a collision. Wow. So don't have any. Yeah. And then you know that if you get stopped, you're fine.
That's it. And what if like you're not the the driver that's causing any issues, but it's other drivers? How can you, as another driver, keep yourself safe? Is there a way, or is it just like?
It's probably just driving with a greater awareness. Just look out for the nutter on the road, and often if I'm driving somewhere and I've got someone that's like really coming up behind me and sort of almost trying to sort of tailgate and intimidate me, I might just pull over and let them go past, because I'd rather see them in front of me than behind me, as I say, intimidating. So just let them go past.
And I think this is a really good point that you're making, Liz, because some people will get angry with that and maybe speed up or just do something silly, but it's so important in those situations just to stay calm and, like I said, just let it go. Is it worth risking an accident or risking your life because someone's being stupid behind you? You should like join in as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the other thing at this time of year as well is just as a driver is just to be really aware if you're driving through built up areas where there's pubs and clubs and nightlife, then drive past those places like you would a school when children are coming out, because when we've had a drink we do sometimes behave a bit silly and we might do things that we wouldn't normally do. So you're more likely to have pedestrians crossing the road, chatting away to their friends, not looking, completely oblivious to you coming along. So just drive, slow down, be really aware and expect the unexpected.
Okay. And how about pedestrians? What can they do to be safe?
It would be very easy to say they should wear some nice high-vis clothes and, be really, really bright, but they're probably not going to. They're going to be in their party gear. So I suppose sequins, sparkles, that's good. But really, it's a case, as I said before, plan how you're going to get home. If you're booking a cab, try and get the cab to pick up on the side that you're coming out of the pub or club. If it's a very, very busy road, it's the same old. Go and cross at a safe place, cross at the lights, cross at a zebra crossing, use the facilities that are there. And don't drink so much that you're so out of it that you don't know what you're doing. Because, there's lots of other factors that can happen there. Just personal security, everything can go out the window. So just try, I'm not being a party pooper, but try and just stay so that you're aware of what's happening around you.
I mean, I think the clothing thing is a big thing, because we don't actually realise as pedestrians that sometimes drivers genuinely don't see you. We might think, it's obvious that I'm, crossing the road or I'm trying to get past, but it's really difficult to see, especially when it's dark and you're wearing black.
Yes,
it's not that easy to spot.
The thing is, drivers, everybody, when you look at things, you only pick up on you have a small field of vision. So stuff around here, you're not going to really notice. And it's our brain. If we go down a certain road and there's never any pedestrians, then we don't expect to see anyone. So we might drive a little bit faster. If you're that poor pedestrian that comes out, crosses, between parked cars or just dashes out, then the driver hasn't seen you, will not be able to stop in time, and being hit by a ton of metal is not going to do you any good.
No, definitely not. We want our viewers to be safe over Christmas, don't we, Liz?
Definitely. Yes,
Well, Liz, thank you so much for coming on again. Great advice
as
usual.
Good.
All right, guys, so now it's time to talk about how to have as healthy as possible Christmas, I would say, because a lot of people do overindulge and they don't really have much control over what they eat, but then end up paying for it later on. So we have our expert on just after this. And now we have our nutritionist with us, Soutter. Hello, Lily.
Hello.
Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did you get into nutrition in the first place?
So healthy eating for me has always been a big passion, but originally I suffered from chronic psoriasis, which is a skin condition, had it from head to toe.
Really?
So I was determined to do anything I could to alleviate the symptoms. So I saw tons of doctors, and they gave me, in those days, they gave me sort of things like coal tar to put on my face, but it just wasn't effective to keep it away long term. Tried lots of different things like acupuncture and reflexology, and nothing really seemed to work. And then I saw a nutritionist who told me very sort of simple basics about nutrition, and I changed my diet, and it really, really helped put my psoriasis into remission. Obviously you can't cure it, but simple things like cutting out the sugar, increasing water consumption, eating more oily fish, and it's really, really helped me personally with my skin health. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so since then I've really realised the power that nutrition can have.
I can imagine why you're so passionate about it, because you've seen those effects in your own life.
Yes, no, exactly. So
well, you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Skin's glowing.
Thank you.
So help our viewers then today, Lily, because obviously festive periods we do tend to overindulge, or most people do, and how can we sort of have fun at the same time, but also keep a bit of control over our eating habits?
So obviously it's all about balance and, having a bit of good and a bit of bad. But the main thing really is, drinks parties. You've got to really watch out for the canapes, because I think it's not necessarily what you're having on Christmas Day, which is unhealthy. It's more everything around it. So it's the build up. It's the numerous drinks parties where there could be cocktails, a lot of champagne going on, and it's to be aware of what you're having at these sort of Christmas parties. So number one, you could switch your alcohol choice from very high calorie, sort of high sugar alcohol, things like cocktails, which should be completely go, and switch it to sort of something which has got a low sugar content and is less concentrated source of alcohol. So you could go for a vodka or a gin, like a clear spirit, with some sparkling water and a squeeze of lemon or lime, which has around 70 to 90 calories, so it's pretty low. It will not affect blood sugar nearly as much if you're going for something like a sugary, Prosecco. And it takes a longer time to drink. So if you're there sort of socialising, often we like to do things with our hands. So it's a diluted sort of form of alcohol, and it takes longer to drink. So it helps, and it helps cut down the calories in that sense, but it's also the canapé. So I would say before Christmas parties, always have something to eat. So a good blood sugar balancing meal, and by that I mean a protein-rich meal, which keeps us fuller for longer because it releases energy into the bloodstream slowly. And with healthy fats and some complex carbs. So you could have something like a chicken breast or piece of fish with some avocado for great healthy fats, and they will keep you full throughout the evening, with lots of fibre, so lots of complex carbs and veg. And again, fibre keeps us full. So eating before drinks parties will stave off the hunger, and if you're starving when you get there, you're 10 times more likely to have 5 canapes or something, which could rack up to several hundred calories. So
you don't realise how much you're eating when you're doing, because they look small. A lot of them look quite small. No, that's not much to eat, but actually it does really add up, doesn't it?
And the majority of canapes are pretty, they will be high in calories. They're high in lots of fat, and to make them taste great. So that's probably the area to look at the most. Christmas Day is easier, like I personally think. Like you can be a little bit healthier in that sense. So the actual Christmas meal is pretty healthy. Turkey is amazing. It's a great lean source of protein. It's full of tryptophan, which converts to serotonin, the happy hormone within the body. So it makes you feel great.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's a good lean protein. Remember, protein keeps you full, so it's great for balancing blood sugar. You can have tons of veg. Brussels sprouts always around, usually when I have Christmas they are. Red cabbage, as much veg as possible. Roast potatoes obviously are maybe slightly high in calories, but they,
still a vegetable, isn't it?
You could cook them with something like coconut oil or a fat which sort of it's not a harmful fat basically to the body. So something which doesn't get damaged at high temperatures, so it stays intact and it's a healthy fat still.
Okay, so the vegetables are good, the turkey is great. What about things like the stuffing and the trimmings and all that kind of stuff?
So I was going to come on to that. That is the area which maybe should be portion controlled. So it's good to know where the healthy bits are and the maybe not so healthy areas are of the Christmas meal. So things like stuffing, there's nothing wrong with them. Again, it's protein, but it will be high in calories, and it's more processed meats go into stuffing. Depending on what kinds of stuffing you make, it can be varied.
The chestnut one's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that would be absolutely amazing. So it's really up to the kind of stuffing you have, but it's not unhealthy. It's just will be higher in calories. So
And desserts, Lily. What do we do about desserts?
Okay, so desserts, I mean, obviously, there's no way around it in terms of the Christmas pudding. You can go ahead with that. But in my opinion, just having a small portion would be absolutely fine. You know, it's Christmas Day, you know, it's fine to treat yourself. But I feel that it's not so much just having a small piece of dessert, which is going to be the issue with weight gain or anything like that. It's more the chocolates around that, the constant eating throughout the day. So that is when it racks up. So it's sort of after the dessert and then having more chocolate or snacking throughout the day on food like that. So obviously, if you're going to have the dessert, portion control, have that and really enjoy it. If you can avoid snacking later on, great. But if not, you could go and make something like healthy Christmas chocolates yourself, which are really easy. All you need is just some cocoa powder, coconut blossom nectar, which is, you can get it from some health food shops or online. Coconut blossom nectar is amazing because it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So you don't have a blood sugar high and then a crash, and then you don't necessarily crave as much sugar afterwards. So it gives you sort of a slow release of sugar into your bloodstream and a slow release of energy. So it's really good. And then you can add some coconut oil, a little bit of almond butter. So it's about 4 ingredients. Mix it all together in a blender. Freeze it, put it in the fridge, and then you slice it.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
And it's a healthier chocolate. Obviously, you can't gorge on it, but just one or two.
It still has the calories, right? But at least it's better for you.
Yeah, so it's a healthy Christmas chocolate, which doesn't affect blood sugar as much. You've got the great antioxidants, the magnesium from the raw chocolate. You've got some healthy fats from the coconut oil. Almond butter's a source of protein and full of healthy fats. So
guilt-free chocolate.
Guilt-free chocolate, yeah, definitely.
Lily, you've been absolutely amazing. I wish we had more time. Definitely have to get you back on again because I don't know. I think you have some more amazing recipes that you're going to tell us about, don't you? Thank you so much. For
no problem at all. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. So don't go away because after the break we have Dr. Rob Hicks on, who'll be answering all your medical questions in our Doctor's Answers section. Hi, I'm Chrissy B and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the programme, everyone. And before we speak to our good Dr. Rob Hicks, let's catch up with some of your views with Pax Brown.
Ladies and gents, here we are in Carnaby Street, ready for some Christmas street chats. Do you usually feel more stressed during the Christmas period?
Not really. I mean, it's a bit more crowded on the street, but otherwise I actually enjoy it.
Yes, definitely. I try and relax, but yeah, as long as work lets you, then you can try and slow down. But yeah, generally it's more stressful.
100% stressed, yeah.
No.
What's the secret to a calm and relaxing Christmas? Do you have one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like all in your mind. If you don't let like all those people around you sort of, you know, make you angry, or it's all about your mentality. I think I personally enjoy it, even though I'm not much of a Christmas shopper or don't sort of buy into all this signage or whatever. I think it's kind of nice.
My secret is shutting my work 10 days early and trying to relax and sleeping a lot more than I ever would.
Alcohol helps. Do it early. And online. Yeah, get out the cold.
It's just my favorite time of the year. So I really prepare myself to just enjoy it.
And what is it you look forward to the most in the run-up to Christmas?
The holidays, time off from work, seeing my family.
Time off work, lie-ins, meeting friends, drinking, socialising, and just forgetting about work until it's January, basically.
Parties, family time is good. Again, more alcohol, and getting presents is also quite a nice little treat.
The Christmas day, family together, eating a lot, having a couple of drinks. I think that's the best part of the year.
I just think about the time when you're all together with your family and you can sit down and enjoy it. It's all going to be worth the trouble that you've gone to.
Guys, relax, soon it will be January and you'll have to do it all over again.
Chill out, take a breath, put the baby down, grab a mulled wine.
Well, I just think that all year we're pretty busy waiting to be for family, waiting holidays. So this is a time that we can get closer to our family, to our parents, brothers, nephews, nieces, friends, and also it's a time that I get to tell everyone that I love them. So it's just, I think it's the month of the love and the joy. So just to spread it and enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Pax, and to the public. So now I'm joined by Dr. Rob Hicks to answer all of your medical questions. And if you have a question, all you need to do is email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Chris. We've got lots of questions.
I know, we need to get going, right? Because we've got quite a lot to get through. And if we don't have time for all of them today, we'll keep it for next week or the next time you're on. Okay, so the first question. I had my thyroid removed 7 months ago after a biopsy showed something suspicious. After the surgery, the results came back clear. The problem I have now is that I find it difficult to swallow when I'm eating. The food seems to get stuck in my throat and takes a long time to go down, even after trying to wash it down with water. And I always have a feeling of indigestion. Lately, my voice is getting very hoarse. Is this anything to do with the thyroid, or could it be a different problem altogether?
Well, I think this could be a different problem altogether. I'd be surprised if it was due to the thyroid.
Okay.
The sort of things that I'm thinking of that it might be causing the problem is acid reflux. You know, you've got this sensation of indigestion, and it may be that acid is going back up into the gullet. It's causing inflammation and maybe some narrowing, and that's why it feels like you've got a blockage there or you can't swallow properly. The other thing to think about is maybe there's a problem with the muscles that are not working properly, or maybe a problem with the nerves. So this is something that you do need to get checked out, and you're talking about the hoarseness as well. So you don't sit on that sort of symptom. Pop along to your doctor and get it checked out. It may simply be related to anxiety. People often, as a symptom of anxiety, feel that they can't swallow, and then they get worried about it, and then it feels like things are getting stuck, and of course the problem gets worse. But I think get this checked out, and let's get to the bottom of the problem.
Can it also be anything to do with sort of unhealthy eating or being overweight or anything, or doesn't that like?
Well, if it's acid reflux, I mean, sometimes what's happening is that the valve at the end of the gullet and the top of the stomach isn't working properly, so there's pressure pushing the acid and the stomach contents back up, and that causes inflammation in the gullet, and that can sometimes cause narrowing and a lot of discomfort. And sometimes spicy foods, increase the amount of acid that's being produced, but also being overweight. So if you talk about an unhealthy diet, piling the weight on, then you find that acid reflux is more likely to be a problem. So that's really where the link is.
Okay, definitely go to the doctor, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So the next question: I've heard that the symptoms of a heart attack in women are considerably different than the symptoms that men have. Since my sister has recently suffered a heart attack and one of my brothers has undergone open heart surgery, I am now considered a risk for heart disease. Could you please explain the difference between heart attack symptoms in men and those in women? I want to make sure that if the worst happens, I'm prepared and recognise the warning signs. I'm
really grateful to this viewer for asking this question, because many people still think that heart disease and heart attacks is something that only affects men, and women are affected as well. You're right. For many women, the symptoms are slightly different to those that men suffer. It's true, women can still get the typical chest pain, but a woman is more likely to suffer other symptoms related to a heart attack, so shortness of breath, dizziness, pain or pressure that's actually in the lower part of the chest or the upper part of the abdomen, or indeed extreme fatigue. Now, one of the things that you highlight is that you've got a very strong family history of heart disease, so I would urge you to make sure that you eliminate the risk factors that you can eliminate for causing heart attacks and heart disease. So please don't smoke, only drink alcohol within moderation, make sure that you keep your blood pressure and your cholesterol at healthy levels, try not to be overweight, and do lots of exercise and manage your stress. So you could do all those things with a healthy, balanced diet that's actually low in fat, low in salt, and very rich in fibre and fruit and vegetables. The other thing to do is to actually have what we call a cardiovascular risk assessment done by your GP or your practice nurse. So that essentially assesses your risk of heart problems like heart attacks because of your strong family history. So you'll have your blood pressure taken, you'll be weighed, and you'll have your cholesterol measured as well. So if you need treatments for any of those conditions, then they can be offered to you. So thanks again for asking that question. Very, very important question.
Brilliant. Okay, next question. I've been getting random fevers on and off for a year now. The doctor thought I was just sick at first, but it keeps happening. Why do I get fevers randomly if I'm not sick? Am I maybe just feeling hot and it is not really a fever?
Well, you might have actually, hit the nail on the head there by saying it's not actually a fever. It may be that you're feeling flushed or that your body just feels warm and you interpret that as a fever. One of the questions I would ask is when you feel that, do you actually take your temperature? Because that will tell you whether you've got a fever or not. There are a number of things. It sounds like you're in the process of having these investigated, but the sort of things to raise with your doctor is if you're a woman and if you're, reaching the menopause or gone through the menopause, is this hot flushes that you're experiencing? Could you have a long-term underlying infection, something like TB, for example? People often get intermittent fevers when they've got a long-term condition like arthritis or other inflammatory conditions. It may be a side effect of any medication you're taking, or it may actually be related to anxiety. One of the symptoms of anxiety is that people feel flushed, they feel warm. And part of that anxious feeling is that's what happens. It's not just sweating, but people actually feel warm as well. So what you might want to do in the meantime is keep a symptom diary. So keep a record of when you're having these fevers, as you calling them. What have you eaten beforehand? What have you been doing? What situation are you in? Are you in an anxious situation? Have you just actually come from the gym? What might be triggering them, and that will help your doctor pinpoint the cause and indeed then recommend any treatment that might be appropriate for you.
Lovely. Okay, next question. This sounds like quite a serious one. I am nearly 10 weeks pregnant but have not had a scan or seen a midwife yet. I work in a school and today received an email advising that a staff member's partner has been diagnosed with measles and anyone pregnant should consult their doctor. Could you offer some advice, please? No one at work knows I'm pregnant.
Okay. Very simple answer to this. Follow the advice to see your doctor. One of the issues is that if you are not immune, then your doctor may offer you an injection of antibodies to help reduce the risk of you developing measles, or if you do get measles, reduce the risk of measles being so severe. So it's very important that you consult your doctor as soon as possible. The other thing to highlight is if you've not yet let your doctor know that you're pregnant, if you've not yet been referred to see a midwife for what's called your antenatal booking appointment, then do so as soon as possible.
Yeah, very important. Okay, next one. My mother got a horrible headache and then began to have other strange symptoms. We had to hospitalise and they're going to examine her tonight for a suspected aneurysm. If she does have an aneurysm, what could have caused it? How is it hurting her and how will they fix it?
Well, let's start off by saying what an aneurysm is. This is a swelling in an artery, so the walls of the artery become weakened. Okay. And it sounds like this has happened in the brain. It's a brain aneurysm. One of what may have happened is that there may have been a bleed, a brain hemorrhage, which causes symptoms like the worst headache, an agonising headache. People describe it as a thunderclap headache. It's the worst headache somebody's ever experienced. They also may find that if they look at lights, it's very painful in their eyes. They may feel sick and vomit. They may suffer neck stiffness. So it's great that you got your mum into hospital, because she'll have the necessary tests and treatments offered if necessary. What causes it? We often don't know what causes brain aneurysms. People at greater risk of them are people who smoke, people who've got high blood pressure, or people who've got a family history of having these brain aneurysms, these brain swellings. It may be often the case that somebody is born with these weakened blood vessels, and they can go throughout their life without them causing any problems. It's usually only when they rupture, they burst, that they cause any sort of symptoms. How are they treated? Well, sometimes they don't need active treatment, they just need to be monitored to see if they're changing in size. That's if they haven't ruptured, obviously. And when they do need treatment, then that's usually assessed on a person's age, how large the swelling is, where it is in the brain, whether there's a family history of these aneurysms, and indeed what other health conditions does a person have. And then you can surgically treat them, and that's sometimes by actually using a small metal clip to close off that swelling, to try and prevent it from rupturing in the future. The other things that people would advise, obviously, is to control blood pressure and not to smoke.
Okay. Another one, Rob. My eyelids are puffy and irritated. It is on both sides and they are kind of itchy and pink in colour. What could be causing this? Do I have some kind of eye infection?
Well, an infection could be the cause. It could also be a condition called blepharitis, which basically means that the edges of the eyelids are irritated. They're often red and swollen and itchy and flaky. It may actually be as simple as a reaction to a makeup, eye makeup or a new cleanser that you're using. And I think the bottom line is that, to make the proper diagnosis, the correct diagnosis, you need to see it, and therefore you need to have a trip to see your GP. But the other thing is, if you're suffering any visual problems, so blurring of vision or pain in the eyes, pop along to your local eye casualty and get that checked out promptly, rather than waiting until your next GP appointment.
Okay, and one last one that we have to whiz through. I'm a woman who's trying to lose weight, and several of my friends are recommending weight loss drugs. We're all in our 30s. I'm interested in the drugs, but I'm concerned that they might be addictive. Is that a real risk?
Okay, very simple, quick answer to this. Losing weight takes discipline, commitment, a healthy diet, which is lower in calories than what you're used to, and lots of exercise. If you are considering weight loss drugs, please consult your GP and only have ones that your GP recommends. I would urge you not to buy weight loss products, like herbs, etc., or combination things over the internet without checking with your GP first to make sure that they're safe for you to use. With regards to addiction potential, with the recommended weight loss treatment that's available in the UK, I'm not aware of any risk of addiction with that particular product, but please have a word with a GP first. And remember, losing weight isn't easy, but it is possible.
Definitely. Rob, thank you so much, and we'll see you again very soon.
Yes, indeed.
Great. Yeah. So don't forget, if you have a question for Rob, you can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv, and you can remain anonymous. Well, after the break, our fashion expert Cynthia Gregoire will be showing us how we can organise our very own fashion shoot, and I'll be giving you my top tips on how you can keep your home safe over Christmas. Welcome back to our programme, everyone, and now I'm delighted to be joined by our fashion expert Cynthia Liza Gregoire. Hello, Cynthia.
Hi, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you back.
Thank you. Nice to be here. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Quite interested in what you're going to speak to us about today, because it's not something that you've covered before, but can you tell the viewers what you'll be speaking about?
Well, today, Chrissy, I wanted to kind of share with your viewers how you might go about making your own fashion shoot, and even maybe lucky enough to get yourself in a print magazine.
Okay, which you have recently, haven't you?
Yeah, actually I have. So that was a huge first in my life, and I just wanted to share with your viewers because it's something that I think the average person can do, but might not think that they can do it. So I just had a few slides just to show. It's probably easier to see the layout of a fashion photo shoot.
So shall we go to the first slide then, Cynthia?
Sure, yeah. So I think the first thing you have to do is actually go to a website or a place where all the creatives can meet, because in a photo shoot you need different people. You need a model, you need a stylist, you need a makeup artist, you need a photographer, you might need an assistant, you might need a coffee runner, depending on the size of the production. So this here is something that's free to join. It's called Model Mayhem, and everybody who kind of does this kind of thing or wants to make these creative photo shoots shoots will go to this website and put up their portfolio. So it's kind of like a meeting place for everyone. So that's where I would start. I would join something similar to this. I mean, they probably have them all over the world. And then from there, right, so this is a mood board that Megan and I put together. We're having Christmas in Moose Jaw, so that's where we're from. And we want to bring with us sort of the essences of Europe, or we've lived here for quite a few years now. So we want to bring like the fashion that was there back home to us. So that's sort of just the cover there. And then as you get into this mood board, this document, just go to the next slide, you can see, you know, the details, where, when, how, you know, if somebody wants to look at our work, they can see our name, you know, where our portfolios are. Here's some pictures that are very good for creating the mood, because not everybody involved, obviously this is like over the ocean and there's fashion, you know, in Canada that's a lot different. They don't really see these types of images all the time, and might, you know, it might be better to have a visual of what we're doing. So as you get into the document, so the next slide, it kind of goes into more details, right, Chrissy? So the makeup, the kinds of makeup Megan will be using, the kind of wardrobe I'll be using. Here again is our contacts, and you know what our role is in the, you know, in the shoot. And then if you just keep going. So we talk about the styling. So it's really important that the model that you choose, you know, does it fit what kind of clothing you're going to use? So I've just shown here, you know, this is a very classic English brand, Burberry or whatever, and it just gives sort of like the tone and the vibe. And here we have, you know, an older model from the 60s, Jean Shrimpton. So you have that kind of vibe that you're looking for, right? So you can tell right away by looking at this, it's not going to be a swimsuit shoot or something like that. So we go to the next slide. And then we just say, you know, we're going to be putting together about 6 looks, because you want to approach magazines such as Vogue and Marie Claire and all these fashion magazines. You want to have like a lot of images to choose from in case they only want to pick, you know, 3 or 4 kind of thing. So these were the sort of looks that we were thinking of, and locations we were thinking of shooting at. So I know it means nothing to you, but maybe the coffee cup, you know, that's a diner in Canada where we live, and we know it has a lot of character there. So that's where we're going to shoot. I'm just moving on. Here's Megan and what she wants for the hair. So she's pre-planned the hair. She's actually looking for a hairstylist as well. It's easier for her if she just does the makeup. So she wanted a clean, wet look for the hair to keep it simple. And the next slide should show the makeup, which what has she said here? Very clean skin, and she wants glossy eyes and lips. So, Chrissy, you can see how, you know, the makeup artist and the stylist, we actually have to, you know, work together. And, you know, as sisters, we sometimes have to, like, you know, put that aside and put our creative and professional hats on and, you know, work together with that. So that's just a mood board. I was just going to show the viewers, just in closing, a few shots of the event that, you know, as it happens. So I was in this magazine. I got my... the photo shoot printed, and these are just some of the behind the scenes shots that maybe if you're a stylist, you know, or you're looking to be a makeup artist and you're wondering, well, how do these actually work? These are some behind the scenes shots. So you can see here, there's the model. This one here, you can see I've actually had to bring my little rail of clothes on set. You can see the makeup artist is doing the model shots. You can see the photographers checking, you know, the lighting and the angles and stuff.
Lovely location, wherever you are.
We're in Hampstead. So we're actually all doing our own sort of thing, and you can see that we're all together to produce, you know, just one final product, I guess it is. But it is possible. I mean, you know, we're all people that have other jobs, and we do this in our spare time, and look at that, it became
What's it like to actually get something to print? Because I know obviously it's your dream, it's your passion to do this, and now that's actually happened, it's your first one. What's that like?
Well, it really felt like an accomplishment, obviously. It's like a major milestone, one of those things that you think of, and all of a sudden it happens, and you're just like, you feel so grateful, and you just really, you know, it fuels you to do the next thing creatively, and it's just really awesome.
Brilliant. So it's so important as well to follow what you love to do, as you've been doing. So Cynthia, thank you so much. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And we'll see you again very soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you too. All right, guys, so now I'm going to be giving a few tips on how to keep safe around the house over the festive period. Right guys, so now I have 11 dangers to watch out for over Christmas, and these are actually on the NHS website, and they do go into more detail if you want to check that out. So the first danger is of course the kitchen. Okay, so they're saying that hot fat, boiling water and sharp knives make the kitchen one of the most dangerous places during the holiday. So try to keep other people, especially children, out of the kitchen, and also obviously avoid alcohol until you finish cooking, and wipe up spills as soon as they happen so that people don't slip over and fall. The second danger, the stairs. So clutter, alcohol and tiredness can make the stairs an accident hotspot during Christmas, they say. So it's common to fall down steps or stairs after drinking. So make sure you keep the stairs well lit and free from any obstructions, especially if you have guests who could be using your bathroom during the day or night. The third danger, believe it or not, are the presents. So typical Christmas Day accident include parents accidentally stabbing themselves with scissors, which maybe they've used to assemble toys instead of actually using a screwdriver. And people also often cut themselves with knives when they're opening presents too quickly. So in all the excitement, slow down. So people also trip over toys and electric cables when they're trying to rush maybe to use their new computer and other appliances. So please calm down and take your time when opening presents. The fourth danger is that innocent looking Christmas tree. So make sure, because every year about 1,000 people are injured by their tree, especially while they're trying to fix stars and lights or other decorations to the higher branches. Obviously, you know, people can fall and there's dangers like that. Let's go to the next point, which is the fairy lights. So apparently around 350 people a year are hurt by Christmas tree lights. So they're saying injuries include people falling while they're putting them up, children actually swallowing the bulbs, and people getting electric shocks and burns from faulty lights. So really dangerous. The next danger is the decorations. So around 1,000 people a year are hurt when decorating their homes. So believe it or not, children bite into the glass baubles and adults fall while using unstable chairs instead of ladders to put up streamers, and they even fall out of lofts while looking for the decorations. So, you know, please be careful. The next danger, probably one of the more obvious ones, are the candles. So people are 50% more likely to die in a house fire over Christmas than at any other time of year. So taking care with candles and oil burners is one way to help you and your family and friends avoid a Christmas house fire. So the advice that the NHS is saying is never put candles on or near a Christmas tree, never leave an open flame unattended, and always place tea lights inside an appropriate container. Let's move on to the next danger, number 8, which are the Christmas plants. So mistletoe is actually poisonous. Now, its berries contain toxic proteins that slow the heart rate and can cause even hallucinations. So the orange berries of the Christmas cherry also can cause stomach pains, and the Christmas rose is so effective at causing diarrhea that it was used as a chemical weapon by the ancient Greeks. So please, I think it's just better, especially if you've got kids and pets, just to stay away from the Christmas plants, to be honest. The next danger, which we do talk about a lot on this program, is stress. So Christmas is one of the most stressful times of the year, and the combination of the drink, the relatives, the lack of sleep, the stress of all the shopping, it can be a bit too much for some people. So try to find some time alone, even if it's just to relax or go out for a walk. And also, as we spoke with Audrey earlier, do learn to say no. If your relatives are very demanding, it's better to be honest and actually say what you feel rather than suppressing your emotions, and do try to talk to someone that you trust or even a third party. And the next point is the next danger, the indigestion and food poisoning. So it does take hours to cook a turkey properly. So if you don't actually cook your food properly, you could contract salmonella poisoning, which can actually be life-threatening for especially the vulnerable people. So please do make sure you cook your turkey properly. And finally, the last point, which we've mentioned today on today's program with Liz, is the alcohol. So alcohol, of course, it reduces your awareness. It can make people relax so that they don't think about everyday risks. And also, the website is also saying after a party, make sure you empty any alcohol out of the glasses. And also, children are likely to drink the remains if they, maybe get up early to play with their toys. and you know, you don't want drunk children or children having accidents because they've drunk all the leftover wine. And also, of course, never drink and drive, as Liz spoke about earlier. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, and we really want you, our viewers at home, to be safe so you can make the most of your Christmas and not be worrying about accidents or food poisoning or anything else. So do please take care. And if you have any comments about the program, if there's some maybe a subject that you would like to see covered here, something that will really help you and your family, do get in touch with us. You can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Until next time, bye-bye for now.